Imagine sitting inside a frozen steel car in total darkness. The temperature inside your cabin has plummeted to 15 below zero. Your engine died an hour ago. Outside your iced-over windshield, 100-mile-an-hour wind screams like a jet engine, burying your doors under 8 feet of suffocating snow. You can't see your own, hand pressed against the glass. You are shivering uncontrollably, trapped on a buried interstate. And you realize with sickening clarity, nobody is coming to save you. That wasn't a horror movie. That was reality for millions of Americans in February 1978, before modern technology created the illusion that humans controlled the environment. American life moved at a quieter, physical cadence. Families relied on landline phones, printed morning papers, and heavy American steel. Sedans equipped with bias-ply tires that spun helplessly on icy asphalt. People trusted that if danger was heading their way, someone on the news would warn them in time. Monday, February 6th, began like any ordinary, forgotten winter morning. Across the Midwest and the Eastern Seaboard, alarm clocks buzzed in dark bedrooms. Cast iron radiators hummed softly. Mothers wrapped heavy woolen scarves around their kids' necks. Fathers scraped frost off windshields, and millions merged routinely onto suburban highways. Official weather forecasts mentioned a routine winter snowfall, the kind of seasonal weather northern communities brushed off without a second thought. But high above the clouds, a terrifying atmospheric anomaly was assembling. Two massive, opposing weather fronts were hurtling toward a catastrophic collision. From deep inside northern Canada, a brutal Arctic air mass slammed south like an iron fist. Simultaneously, an immense plume of tropical moisture surged northward from warm Gulf waters. Where these two forces smashed together, atmospheric pressure crashed into a historic freefall. Within 12 hours, every milestone of civilization, streetlights, highway signs, familiar exit ramps, would vanish into a blinding, white void. Nature was about to strip away modern life in a matter of hours. The nightmare didn't start with panic. It began with a gentle, deceptive mist. Across vast stretches of the region, the early hours of February 6th brought only a soft, chilly rain. That damp drizzle lulled millions into a dangerous sense of false comfort. Rain felt safe. Rain meant wet asphalt, not lethal black ice. It felt ordinary, predictable, and totally manageable. By mid-morning, commuters looked out rain-streaked office windows at wet streets, thinking about dinner plans, family schedules, or weekend rest. Almost no one understood that the sky above them was quietly springing an inescapable trap across 3 entire states. Shortly after noon, the weather shattered. Within 40 minutes, gentle air turned ice cold. Rain instantly transformed into razor-sharp sleet that rattled against window panes like thrown gravel. Sleet quickly gave way to dense, wet, heavy snow that glued itself to every exposed surface. Then came the gale. The wind didn't just blow, it roared. Sustained winds screamed past 50, 60, and 70 miles per hour, while coastal lookouts recorded terrifying gusts exceeding 90 miles per hour. Wind chill values plunged toward a deadly 50 below zero. Barometric pressure dropped so violently that families inside their living rooms felt the sharp, painful popping in their ears. The early rain froze instantly into a subsurface layer of solid black ice, and atop that slick trap, snow piled up at a staggering rate of 5 inches every single hour. The trap was sprung. It was at this exact moment that a winter storm stopped being a weather event and transformed into a desperate, heartbreaking battlefield for human survival. Because the blizzard hit during early afternoon hours, factories were running, schools were packed, and downtown city centers were fully populated. As daylight vanished into pitch-black gloom and windows were plastered with thick frost, a sudden wave of panic hit millions of minds all at once. I have to get home to my family right now. An ocean of panic drivers swarmed onto regional highways and beltways, simultaneously triggering catastrophic gridlock. On major interstate loops surrounding major metropolitan areas, lines of cars ground to a complete standstill and were instantly engulfed by rising drifts. This was no longer a commuter delay. It was a slow-motion survival nightmare unfolding across hundreds of miles of trapped highways. Snow fell so fast that state highway plows were completely useless. A plow would push through a lane, only for roaring winds to fill the trench back in within 3 minutes. Inside stranded cars, terrified motorists watched the whiteout swallow the world. They couldn't see the taillights 5 feet ahead, nor could they find the shoulder of the road beneath the rising banks. Car cabins shook violently as howling wind slammed against door panels. As night fell, gas needles dropped to empty. Car heaters sputtered and died. Ice climbed up tires, packed against door handles, and locked frightened passengers inside freezing metal boxes. Thousands realized with pounding hearts that emergency crews couldn't reach them. Along interstate corridors, jackknifed semi-trucks blocked every avenue of escape. Massive 18-wheelers were spun sideways like toys, forming steel walls across multiple lanes. Snow piled against these jackknifed rigs, creating White Mountain ranges 15 feet high. Inside buried cars, human psychological limits were pushed to the brink. Drivers faced agonizing choices. Do you stay inside the freezing car? It offered shelter from the biting wind, but as snow buried exhaust pipes, odorless carbon monoxide seeped into cabins, causing occupants to drift off and never wake up. Or do you open the door and step into a roaring white wall where you can't see your own boots? Desperate groups tied themselves together with jumper cables, scarves, or tow ropes, forming human lifelines as they stumbled through waist-deep drifts toward distant porch lights, shouting into the roaring wind. Hundreds of cars were simply abandoned, left behind like dark tombstones beneath the white quiet. Kind homeowners living near highway exits became unexpected heroes, spotting faint headlights disappearing into massive drifts. They braved the storm to pull freezing motorists into their warm homes. Living room carpets became emergency tree-off stations where strangers held the hands of frostbitten victims. But out on the highways, engine after engine died out, leaving behind a terrifying, silent wasteland as night closed over a buried world. With interstates completely paralyzed, the storm turned its cold cruelty directly toward families huddled inside their homes. The electrical grid collapsed under the assault, battered by hurricane-force winds and weighed down by thick coats of ice. Power poles snapped like dry twigs. High-voltage transformers exploded across dark suburban skylines in brilliant blue and green flashes, briefly lighting up the whiteout, before plunging entire counties into pitch blackness. Homes during this era lacked modern insulation standards. When central furnaces died, the cozy warmth of home evaporated fast. Within hours, indoor air plunged from 70 degrees down into the freezing 30s. Frightened children could see clouds of their own breath inside their bedrooms. Water pipes inside walls froze and shattered with loud pops, sending freezing water pouring into basements where it hardened into sheets of solid ice. Families entered raw survival mode. They abandoned upstairs bedrooms and crowded into single central rooms, usually kitchens or living rooms with brick fireplaces. Blankets were nailed over door frames to lock in remaining body heat. Mattresses were dragged off bed frames and laid directly onto cold floors near open hearths. Food management became a desperate math problem. Neighborhood grocery stores were dark or buried, and roads were impassable. Parents counted canned goods in pantry cupboards, wondering how many days they could keep their kids fed. They warmed soup over open fires, shared cold rations, and realized their unheated back porches were colder than kitchen freezers. The psychological weight was relentless. Wind battered house frames without mercy for days, sounding like a freight train parked on the roof. Homes groaned under thousands of pounds of accumulating ice. For 3 agonizing days, isolation was absolute. Front doors were sealed shut by 10-foot drifts, packed tight against entryways. Parents had to climb out second-story windows just to clear furnace exhaust vents or confirm that their neighbors were still alive. Small, battery-powered radios became emotional lifelines, broadcasting local emergency announcements into dark, freezing living rooms. Yet inside this dark crisis existed a deeply moving contrast in human emotion. For parents, the blizzard was a living nightmare, a terrifying struggle against freezing temperatures, empty pantries, lost wages, and fear for trapped relatives. But through the eyes of children, the exact same event was an unforgettable, magical paradise. School. Districts canceled classes for weeks. The howling gales had packed the snow into hard, sculpted waves so strong that a child could walk across the drifts without sinking. Through, kids felt no dread in the whiteout. They felt pure, unbridled awe. Dressed in heavy winter coats and snowsuits, kids crawled out second-story windowsills directly onto snowbanks that reached the eaves of their roofs. They turned garage roofs into launch pads for sleds. They dug elaborate networks of snow tunnels and ice caves through front yards, creating quiet, glowing blue fortresses where the wind couldn't touch them. To a child in 1978, the storm was not a tragedy. It was an epic adventure brought to life. They pulled plastic sleds down empty, snow-walled avenues that used to belong to roaring traffic, fetching milk or bread for their tearful parents. While adults worried in the dark over shrinking wood piles, children played in a world magically transformed into an enchanted kingdom of ice. By the third morning, local emergency services had completely broken down. Police cruisers sat buried to their roofs in station lots, and fire trucks were frozen solid inside station bays. Realizing that towns were helpless, state governors declared disaster emergencies and called upon the National Guard. Surreal, unforgettable scenes played out across suburban streets as military forces mobilized. Heavy tracked armored vehicles and massive tanks rumbled down residential avenues, their steel tracks crushing through frozen drifts. These massive machines were the only vehicles strong enough to break through 15-foot walls of ice. Guardsmen in heavy Arctic coats stood atop vehicle decks, dropping off crates of milk, bread, and emergency medicine to desperate families standing in open doorways. Military helicopters touched down on frozen high school football fields to evacuate critically ill patients. Where military armor couldn't fit, ordinary citizens stepped up to become heroes. Anyone who owned a snowmobile became an immediate lifesaver. Snowmobile owners formed volunteer fleets across towns, carrying doctors through buried streets, rushing police officers to emergency calls, and bringing life-saving insulin to housebound elderly residents. They hitched wooden sleds to their machines, hauling firewood, blankets, and hot food from house to house. The crisis washed away all social distance. Neighbors who had never spoken walked across massive drifts on snowshoes to check on lonely elderly residents. Homes with working fireplaces opened their doors to entire streets, sheltering dozens of cold neighbors on their living room floors. Families shared their last cans of soup without taking a single dime. Whenever a driveway was buried, neighbors emerged from the blowing snow with shovels in hand. In the face of nature's raw fury, selfishness vanished, leaving behind the pure warmth of human community. When the storm system finally broke and drifted out over the Atlantic, the clouds parted to reveal blinding, brilliant sunshine. The sun reflected off a vast, unbroken ocean of white with an intensity that brought tears to the eyes. The long, terrifying silence was broken by the sharp, rhythmic sound of shovel blades scraping against frozen pavement. Unearthing the region felt like excavating a lost world. Citizens dug through towering white mounds, weeping with relief when they uncovered a mailbox or a buried car. Streets that had been invisible for a week were slowly carved back to life. Official records registered nearly 30 inches of snow, but 40-foot wind drifts made numbers meaningless, with snow walls reaching second-story windows and hanging streetlights. As the drifts melted, the true emotional cost emerged. Heartbreaking discoveries were made inside buried highway cars where stranded drivers had succumbed to the freezing cold. Dozens of lives were lost, and families mourned loved ones who never made a home that fateful Monday afternoon. It took weeks for normal life to resume, and piles of dirt-covered ice lingered in shaded parking lots well into May. The Great Blizzard of 1978 became an unforgettable story written into the hearts of everyone who survived it. It taught an entire generation how fragile modern life really is when the lights go out and the roads freeze over. But more than that, it stood as an enduring monument to American resilience, neighborly compassion, and togetherness. For everyone who lived through those 7 frozen days, the storm remains a badge of honor, a legend passed down across generations about the week the world turned white, and how ordinary people came together to dig their way back to the light. Did your family live through the Great Blizzard of 1978? Or do you remember a storm that changed your city forever? Drop your stories in the comments below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next chapter.